Hi YouTube, Jessie here, or as my channel is titled, Life Unpaged. I am here to explain a little about what my channel is going to be about. Primarily it is going to follow my journey with in vitro fertilization and pre-implantation genetic diagnosis, and I will call them IVF and PGD from here on. You might have seen my previous video where I uploaded that we received a cheek swab kit from a company called Genesis Genetics. They are the company that will be doing the pre-implantation genetic diagnosis, or PGD, on our embryos. First of all, the whole reason why we are going to be taking this route to start our family is that I have a genetic disorder known as Neurofibromatosis type 1, or NF1. I thought I'd explain a bit about what neurofibromatosis is, which should explain why we have decided to do IVF in order to have children. So, I've got my notes here, so if you just excuse me. Fibromatosis was a word I had not heard before I turned 24 years old. I'd had a strange mark under my left breast. Since I was about 15 years old, I can remember noticing it. And my mother took me to the doctor, we had it looked at, and he said, oh, you've either injured yourself or it's the underwire in your bra. Try wearing a different bra, one without underwire for a while, and see what happens. Well, I didn't really wear underwire bras because they are super uncomfortable. So we knew that wasn't the issue, but we just let it go. The doctor wasn't concerned, we weren't concerned. Fast forward a few more years, I've graduated high school, I'm in college, and I've noticed a change in the mark. It started to look a bit different. I showed it to my mother, asked her again, does this look any different to you from when it did when I was 15? She said, yes. So I was going to Algonquin College at the time, and they have a doctor and a health center there that you are qualified to use as a student. So I went to my doctor there, showed her, and she said the same thing. Underwire in your bra, or, you were hit there and had an injury. Well, I know I didn't have an injury, and again, I wasn't wearing bras with underwire. I wear mostly sports bras because I find underwire bras to be so uncomfortable, and I'd rather be comfortable. So again, thought nothing of it, let it go, let it go, let it go. Let it go, let it go. A number of years later, I'm 23, 24 years old, and I am with my now husband, my boyfriend then, and he expressed concern over the mark. Sorry, my tablet is going crazy here. Had my mother look at it again, and she agreed, yes, once again, it has gotten a bit bigger, it's looking different. And this time I went to my doctor. Again, this was again at the college, because this was another program I was in, my library technician program. And the doctor tried to say the same thing again, and I said, look, no. I've had this for a number of years now. It has changed. I have not worn underwire. I have not been hit in the chest. I want this biopsied. So I asked for a biopsy. So she referred me to a dermatologist. Basically, it's called the Ottawa Clinic. I think it's like a plastic surgery dermatology clinic. And this woman was so attentive to details. She asked me all kinds of questions. She didn't just look at my marks, she looked at the rest of my body too, and noticed these light brown patches. She referred to them as cafe au lait spots. She counted the number on my body, and they were over a certain number, so that was one point of diagnosis, and she biopsied the mark under my breast. Well, a couple weeks later, the test results come back. She says, you have something called neurofibromatosis. It's nothing to worry about really too much. I was at a World War II reenactment for my husband at the time. So there's all these gunfire and lots of noise going on, so I could barely make out what she was saying. I just heard neuro something and cancer, and I was just kind of like, okay, did she just tell me I have cancer? Anyways, I ended up calling her back to get a proper explanation, and I learned it was called neurofibromatosis type 1. So this is a genetic condition that I would have had since birth. One of the symptoms was there, which was a larger than average head circumference. They didn't think anything of it, but then these patches, these cafe au lait spots came up as I was a child, and we always thought, oh, they're birthmarks. I have a particularly large one around my belly button. I'll insert a picture somewhere to demonstrate what I mean. So yeah, I went undergoing further tests. I had my eyes checked. More symptoms there called Lish nodules. And so I had a clinical diagnosis. So, long-winded blah 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 of my history. Just Simba, my cat, is playing with the wires under my desk, distracting me. Now he's sucking up to me. He knows he's in trouble, licking my toes. Anyways, let's go back here. Sorry guys, I am so new to vlogging. My first few videos are probably going to be completely awkward and weird and unprofessional. But here we go. I'm going through my blog post regarding neurofibromatosis right now. So what it is, it's a genetic disorder that affects the gene responsible for suppressing tumor growth in the body. So tumors can develop anywhere in the nervous system, like the brain, spinal cord, and nerves. And it's typically diagnosed in childhood. As mentioned before, I was diagnosed at 24 years old. Any tumors that grow have a chance of becoming cancerous, but it's not very common. And the effects of neurofibromatosis vary from person to person, even within the same family. If one parent has NF, there's a 50% chance of passing it on. So in my case, it doesn't seem like anyone else in my family has it. So that would be considered a spontaneous mutation, which is like a 1 in 1,300 chance of that happening. I have a 50% chance of passing on my NF to our children. Then there's no way to tell how severe it would be in them. They could be like me. They could have even fewer symptoms. Why do you have to be a brat now? Excuse me. Sorry about that. There was string hanging out of my sewing kit, and my cat decided it was time to play with it. When I'm not paying attention to him, that's when he gets into trouble, right? So anyways, like I said, there's no way to tell how severe it would be if I were to pass it on. And for how severe it can get, it is scary. There's kids undergoing chemo and suffering through blindness and scoliosis of the spine. I'm going to go through a bit more of the symptoms later on. You'll be able to tell why we have decided to take this route, to ensure, or at least help to make sure I'm not going to pass this on and our children won't have to suffer. So some of the signs and symptoms. As I said, the cafe au lait spots, which are flat, light brown blotches on the skin. I have several. The biggest is around my belly button, like I mentioned. Also freckling in the armpits or groin area. Now freckles are typically caused by exposure to sunlight. So places like your groin and your armpits, they're typically exposed to the sun. I do have some freckling in my armpits. So another one is soft skin tag-like bumps on or under the skin. I have several small of these around my torso mainly. I've got one kind of right there. Probably hard for you to tell. Maybe I'll get a picture of that. But they basically we thought they were skin tags. But there's so many of them growing and so many more growing. And some of them are getting bigger. So it was just one of those things. It was like, well, like who has that many just skin tags? I don't know anything about that, but again, it was one of those symptoms that came together for me. The other one is, I mentioned before, the Lish nodules, which are tiny bumps on the iris of the eye. And I have these, and they make my eyes appear green, Jeremy is convinced that my eyes are really blue, but it's these markings that have given them green tone to them. Another one that was something I struggled with as a child is learning disabilities, especially when it comes to math. I was diagnosed with a visual learning disability as a child, and it's something I still struggle with to this day. It makes aspects of daily life sorry, I'm getting tongue-tied. I'm probably trying to talk too fast. It makes things in life, daily life, a little bit of a challenge. Again, the larger than average head size, and for me this was noted at birth. My head is about the same size as my husband's, if that puts anything into perspective for you. I don't know the exact circumference. And again, short stature. I'm, I think, considered close to average. I'm 5'4". So also, depending on where and how big tumors grow, it can cause quite a number of issues for those suffering from NF. Tumors can grow on the optical nerves, causing potential blindness. Brain tumors can be a problem as well. They can cause balance problems, epilepsy, weakness, and more. Like I mentioned, I followed a series of children suffering from symptoms from NF that were more severe than mine. And in some cases, they even die from the disease. IVF isn't going to be an easy route for us. It's hardly, it's challenging. It's going to be challenging. But I feel like because this opportunity has presented itself to us to possibly prevent passing it on, then, you know, it's our responsibility to do it. We're very fortunate here in Ontario that it was just passed that one cycle of IVF per person will be funded by the government. So there's a lifting of the financial burden on us for now. Previously we were saving up. It's just, with doing this, I know we are giving our future children the best chance at health. And we're not going to pass the burden on to them, because then when it comes time for them to have children, will they be facing the same decision we are about how to proceed, whether or not to undergo IVF or try naturally. And I feel like it would be very, very selfish to continue when we have the means to try to prevent it. I'm not at all judging people who do go forward to have children, not in the least. But I feel like this is something we have to try. There's so much more that can be said about NF. It is a very, very complex condition because of how widely the symptoms can vary. As far as my prognosis goes, again, it's a progressive condition. It can be a progressive condition. It's unknown how mine will progress. I could stay the same. I could get worse. Hormonal changes tend to bring up a lot more changes in the condition. So I can grow more tumors and develop more health problems, more symptoms as a result. But for me, I feel it's a risk I'm willing to take because of how badly I want to become a mother. And we'll adjust that as it comes. So yeah, we're very, very shortly going to be able to start our treatment. Currently, Genesis Genetics is working on building our probe, which is our test that will test our embryos. So that should take a few weeks. They were guessing that early September we'd actually be able to start our IVF, which I'm really excited and really nervous about. So I hope to vlog often about what I'm going through, what we're going through, what our mind frame is. Once I start the drugs, I'd like to talk about what they're doing to me and how I'm feeling, because I really feel sharing these stories helps others. I know following other people's IVF journeys has helped me to better understand what IVF is and what to expect. So yeah, and hopefully it'll also be an outlet for me to express myself with. So yeah, I think that's it. If you want to read more or learn more about neurofibromatosis, I'll post some links below and you can read up. And again, I really want to help spread awareness about neurofibromatosis and the fact that there is a way for you to prevent passing it on if you have the means to. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. I'm an open book when it comes to this. I really feel like it's a good way to spread awareness and hopefully help other people. So yeah, after that long-winded and somewhat awkward and rambling video, I am going to take off. Until next time, bye.